Hey there, YouTube. So it's actually Friday evening. A little bit later on, I was having some conversations and it kind of dragged on a little later than I wanted to start this video. I have the usual mail day in this video as per normal, but a couple of kind of announcements and things that I want to talk about first. So the first order of business is I want to, again, thank Matt from the Essential Credentials for coming on with me on Thursday to do a live stream. We kind of did a collector hangout where we were just kind of chatting about different things. We talked about 90s hockey, some of the cards we like, some of the different things, and we even talked about a little bit of the current day hockey and a little bit of that, and I had some fun with, my alternate history of the late 90s Dallas Stars. So it was just kind of a chill conversation. It's the kind of thing where you don't really have to engage in it too closely to get much out of it. If you just want some background sound, well, it's a pretty good video for that. So you can definitely check it out. We chatted for a little over 2 hours, and Matt was a great sport to come on and check it out. So I appreciate him, and I thank him again for coming on. The second order of business is that I wasn't planning on having necessarily another live again for a while. First thing I want to say is that if I do have more live videos in the future, they will probably take on the same context that I did with Matt, because I'd love to talk to certain collectors and kind of get an idea of how they build their collections, the why, because that kind of stuff interests me. And I think that's an area that still has a lot of room where a lot of people just don't know, and I always think it's interesting to see how different collectors approach it and the why. But again, that's going to depend on, who I can get in contact with, who I can come out to, what their scheduling is. So I don't want to promise a regular scheduled occurrence. But if I do have the ability to do it, well then I'll be more than happy to schedule one depending on how their schedule works out and if I can put one on the channel. But with that said, I was able to secure a second guest for the second version of a live stream on Saturday. So I'm recording this on Friday night, so you'll have all day Saturday. Hopefully you'll see this video before then. But on Saturday, I'm going to be talking to Chris McGill from Card Ladder. Now, with that said, already in saying that, there's probably going to be a little bit of attention related to it because Card Ladder is somewhat of a polarizing thing in the community because some people really like it and some people don't like it. And I think one of the things I need to do is kind of lay in now what it's going to be and what it isn't. So the first thing I want to explain is what it's not going to be is it's not going to be just kind of an advertising thing for Card Ladder. I'm not knocking what anybody else has done, but a lot of the times when you're introducing a new product out in the market, you're going to go on podcasts and YouTube videos and do collaborations and things, talk with a lot of people talking about it. I'm going to consider that the 101 on Card Ladder. Kind of introducing it, talking a little bit about the creator, talking about how they got inspired to create it and all that. That's already out there. As far as I'm concerned, it's been done. And if you want to check it out, check out one of the 1,018 different versions. And one thing I will include in this video, I'll include a link in the description if you want to check it out, is kind of a lead-in, is that Jeremy from Sports Cards Live already did an interview with Chris that is a little bit more in that vein. They established a little bit of the groundwork, did talk about some of the criticisms in that related to Card Ladder as well, and they engaged with the live audience in terms of getting some questions, and Jeremy had his own questions. So I'm already going to kind of build off of that. I'm going to use that as kind of a foundation, and we're going to go a little bit different direction in the sense that I want to go a little bit deeper into certain specific areas and critiques that I have of the tool. I've already done some videos on both Card Ladder and Market Movers and also kind of comparing them to each other. And one other area I want to kind of emphasize here is that we're really going to focus on the nitty-gritty because I think at this point, it's been around long enough that we kind of get the general idea of what it is, but I think it's important that we understand better how it works, what it's good at, what it isn't good at, and also get that from the source itself. So that's kind of why I want to talk to Chris about it, and that's why I think he's an excellent resource for it. The next thing I want to say to you is what it isn't going to be is it's not going to be me just doing a gotcha or anything like that, because a lot of the questions I'm going to have are questions that make sense in the context of the critiques that I'm going to have as well. We're going to have a live chat in it, but it's one of those things where I want to kind of emphasize that I will pay attention to chat. I'm not going to ignore it. But at the same time, I'm not going to concern myself so much with what the chat is doing unless there's an absolute burning question that fits into kind of the areas that I want to cover, in which case I'll try to incorporate it where it makes sense. I'm not going to worry about what the chat is doing too much. Like I said, I'm not going to ignore it, but at the same time, I want to focus in on getting the answers that I'm looking for in terms of getting the clarity where I want it to be. So that's really where the emphasis is going to be. And based on that, I'll tell you right now, just as an outline, the areas that I really want to focus on. One of them is the news feed that Card Ladder has, because there are some areas there where there's been some criticism, but at the same time also, I do think there's an area where it can be adjusted and improved. And I'm going to talk a little bit with Chris about that. The second thing is the data, because as you know, because as you may or may not know, there are major differences in the way that Card Ladder uses the data and the way a Market Movers uses the data. Some people like one way, some people like the other way, but we're going to talk a little bit about it and get a better understanding of the thought process that led to the decision to do it the way they decided to do it. So we'll talk about that. And the third area that we're going to talk about is going to be the ladder itself. That's probably one of the more controversial pieces of it, so I want to save it for last because I want to give us time to talk about it and expand upon it a little bit. Because there is underlying math. So unfortunately, there is going to be math involved in this, although hopefully we won't be doing too many calculations. But we do need to kind of understand the underlying logic behind it if we're going to be able to then decide whether it makes sense to us to pay attention to it or just leave it as an interesting exercise. And that's an area where I think Chris is well versed to be able to speak to it because a lot of that was kind of his idea. And of course, Josh from Cardboard Chronicles has turned it into reality in the app. So if it's a more technical thing, then I can certainly follow up with Josh at some point. But on the whole, and this is probably the key piece that I really want to emphasize, and that's the reason why I want to announce it this way by explaining a little bit of the background of the approach I'm going to take. I want to emphasize this. After I finish this discussion with Chris from Card Ladder, this is the last time I'm going to do a video related to Card Ladder. And it's the last time I'm going to do a video or discussion in any way related to market movers. Because unless something fundamentally changes with the two of them, I've already covered everything that I feel I need to. This is going to be me asking direct questions about specific things that concern or interest me related to Card Ladder, and I'm going to speak directly to one of the sources. After that, there's really nothing more that I feel I need to add. If you want to see kind of my general thoughts on both tools, you can check the archive of this channel. Previous videos, I've talked about them at length. Opened up the screen, showed it to you, at least to the best of my ability. If you're not satisfied with that and that's not enough, you can check out the 1,000,008 other videos that have been put on it. But in this case, I'm going to focus really on certain specific areas. So if you have absolutely no clue what any of those are, then you probably won't want to start with this one because we won't focus a lot on the background on it. And like I said, since I've already said my piece on it, to my opinion, sufficiently, I really don't want to delve back into it because if they're going to have a little format war, they're going to do it without me. After that, I consider myself Switzerland and I'm out of it. So I just want to make sure that's clear ahead of time. And that's going to be on Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to hang out for a while, however long it takes. And one other thing I'm going to do that's going to be in live, and I'll kind of lead with this in the actual live portion of it, is that Jeremy is going to be doing a live show at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Brian Gray of Leaf Trading Cards. So I think that'll be very interesting, and it's going to be kind of an indirect lead-in. So we're going to kind of create like a back-to-back stream. If you want hobby content, we're going to have a couple of hours of it for sure. And Brian is definitely a character, and he's going to talk. I'm sure he'll talk about a lot of things. And I'll give everybody a little bit of a warning when they're about 10 or 15 minutes from starting, in case you do want to check it out, because you can always come back and archive it. Because I know for a fact Chris can talk, and I can talk, given the length of some of my videos. But given that, we might run long. But I kind of would like to see if we can settle in right about just ending just as the other one's beginning. But I'm not going to hold us hard to that line. We'll go as long as I feel we need to in order to clarify what needs to be clarified. And we'll have a conversation. It's going to be a very civil discussion, and I'm looking forward to it. So I think it's going to be fun. So that's it for announcements. We're done with that. Again, thanks to Matt from the Essential Credentials for my first live stream. And thanks in advance to Chris for my second live stream. Future live streams to be determined, TBD. It'll really depend. I'll probably try to see if I can get some done, but I don't want to promise anything ahead of time. And what's funny is the rest of the video is going to be kind of short. And I'm not even going to bother to flip the camera. And the reason is because something has happened this week that hasn't happened, I don't think, in a while. And that is the mailbox was pretty empty. I did get something, and it's a good something. So quality in this case is, trumps quantity, I guess. But for some reason, I guess this card wanted center stage to itself because after this came in, and in Canada, here in Ontario, we had a holiday Monday, which made the week a 4-day week. It was a little bit shorter. But then, for whatever reason, after the one card came in, nothing on Thursday, nothing on Friday. So the mailbox was empty, and I'm left with one single piece. So I'll show it to you now. So this one came in the mail. So this is a 1954 Topps Gordie Howe. And it is a PSA Authentic Altered. And I'll get a bit of a closer look at it here with you. So hopefully you can kind of see that. I know it's a little bit dark, but like I said, I didn't necessarily want to get the whole apparatus in just for just to show the one card. But it's a trimmed card. The edges are trimmed, and on the top especially, it's very obvious. And I have a picture of this, a good resolution picture of this, so you can check out on my Instagram. So I'll hopefully have that in one of the corners. But I'll be honest with you, I'm okay with it because it's obviously disclosed right on the card. So I'm cool with that. And the other thing is, this is to me, this is kind of the hockey equivalent of like the 52 Topps mantle, in the sense that it is a legendary player from the 50s era. And it is a legendary who played well into the 70s and even into the early 80s professionally. And so a long and storied career from the 40s into the 80s. But the other aspect of it is that obviously it's not the rookie card, but it is an iconic card in the hockey card hobby. So from that perspective, it's definitely qualifies as that kind of thing. And PSA seems to agree, because in terms of the set registry, even though I don't participate in the set registry too much, they've got this card as actually part of what they consider to be the hockey Mount Rushmore. So if you go into the PSA set registry, they've got what's called the Mount Rushmore of hockey. This is one of the cards to go along with the Bobby Orr rookie card, the Wayne Gretzky rookie card, and a George Vezina tobacco era card. I don't remember the exact designation. I'll probably put it on the screen somewhere. But those are the 4 cards that are considered the Mount Rushmore of hockey, and I'm very pleased to be able to add one of those to my collection. I don't know if down the road I'll shoot for any of the other ones. I've had 2 of the Gretzky rookies in the past, and then I've sold them off. I may get another one in the future. I don't know. The Gretzky never quite excited me as much, but this is a cool card, and this is one that I definitely want to add to my collection, and I'm quite proud to add it to. Altered or not, it's a good looking one in terms of the actual eye appeal. So for me, that's really important. So let me see if I can make this a little clearer for you. Let's back this up a little bit. There we go. Hopefully that's okay. I know the glare from the screen is a little obtrusive, so I apologize for that. But it is actually, in terms of eye appeal, it's actually quite good. And on the back, you can actually see that even though, like I said, it is clearly trimmed, it does still have enough of a border, so it doesn't seem to really, it doesn't look so trimmed that it's miscut. And it's a clean looking card otherwise, on the whole. So that's kind of what appealed to it for me, and it made it a much more affordable card because of the altered status. But again, it's been certified and it is authentic. So that's really the important part for me as far as a card like this is concerned, because otherwise it would have been a little bit out of reach price-wise, and I don't know if I would have been willing to commit the dollars to make it happen. So there you go. I got a couple of minutes out of a 1-card mail week. So hopefully next week will be a little bit more active. I do have some stuff I'm waiting on. And I think this is the first week in a long time that no Medina. So this week it's just Gordie's got the show all to himself. So that's it for me. Hopefully some of you will check out the live when I go into it. It'll be tomorrow, like I said, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Chris McGill from Card Ladder and House of Jordans. And we'll have some fun. We'll see how that goes, and then we'll kind of go from there. Future videos forthcoming. Thanks as always for watching. Any comments or questions you can certainly put in the description, and I will catch you in the next video.